DJ Smallwood, Slingin Dirt Media, back out here at Schwartz Race Car, sitting here with Lucas Crooks. Lucas, man, thanks for carving some time. I know you got a busy day. You're racing tonight, right?
Yeah, we're going to go to Mudlick Valley Raceway tonight and hopefully just have a good run. We have a new motor in that we got last week and still kind of working the kinks out. I only got to race twice at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
So we're still, I'm rusty.
Yeah, you're still working the bugs out of it.
Yeah, we're working the bugs out. So we're hoping for a good night, and it should be pretty good.
So how long have you been racing?
I started racing late models when I was 13.
Okay.
That's when I got my first one. So I'm on my fourth year now.
Fourth year. Okay.
And I started
big cars. Did you race anything before that?
I raced go-karts, better known as mini wedges, with pretty much a flat cart with a roll cage and a late model style body on them.
Yeah.
I started that when I was 5.
Okay.
And I did that until I was 12, and then we moved up into the late
models at 13.
Kind of been going from there
so
since.
My math tells me you're what, 17, 18 now?
18 years old.
18. Okay. I was close.
Yep. You had
Sometimes my math ain't mathing.
I know what you mean.
Sometimes it's early too. I mean, I got an early start today. I had to leave the house early to get out of here.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
No, we so we're hoping to have a pretty good next couple weeks with this.
Have you raced at Mudlick before?
So yeah, Mudlick is only like 45 minutes, 50 minutes from where I live.
Oh, okay.
So I've been there.
Okay.
It was actually the second track I was ever on.
Really?
I went and practiced there a couple times before I actually started running some races.
Where was your first track at?
Atomic.
Atomic.
Yeah,
Okay.
Atomic was the first place I ever in a late model at.
Yeah. How'd you like that?
It was interesting.
That's a different experience.
Yeah, just trying to get the feel for it. Going from 12 horsepower to 800, and
that's
just
a big jump.
Switch like that. It's very, very different. But it was. We've had a good past couple years, and we're hoping to continue that. Like I was saying, we're hoping to have a next couple of weeks. I leave for college to go to University of Northwestern Ohio.
Oh, okay.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah. So September 27th will be my move-in day, and
freshman year.
Freshman year, yeah. I'll just be started. I just graduated high school last year. So
where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at East Carter High School in Grayson, Kentucky.
Okay.
So I was a Raider.
Raider, yeah. So now you're going to become a racer.
I'm going to become.
You've already been a racer.
Yeah, I've been a racer since I was a little, but now I'm officially going to become a racer. Yeah. I'm hoping to kind of further my career in the racing world. I'm not going to say driving or.
Yeah.
I mean, dream since I was little. My dream has always been to become a driver professionally and traveling. But kind of like my grandpa. I mean, that's my
And for those
hero.
who don't know who your grandpa is,
Charlie Schwartz.
Charlie Schwartz.
Yep. That's been my hero ever since I can remember.
Sure.
That's what all these kids my age are always into racing. They're like, oh man, my hero is Scott Blomqvist or you know Jimmy Owens, racers like that. But I always had my grandpa I looked up to, and sometimes that situation's a little difficult because you have people at the track that are like, oh my gosh,
they were either fans or not
that's
fans.
Charlie Schwartz, and I'm like, that's just my grandpa.
Yeah, that's just my grandpa. Yeah,
but I got some big shoes to fill, so hopefully we can get there one day.
But this is a total different era too.
Yes,
so anything's possible.
It is very different from the money perspective to the actual engineering side of stuff, and the minute changes that you can make that will change the whole night. I mean, it's a completely different era of dirt late model racing, but we're hoping to have some good runs in it and maybe make a living out of it one day.
For sure. In the family, Schwartz Race Cars here, I mean, you guys have got an established business.
Yeah, so my uncle, Audie, Charlie's son, is the owner of Schwartz Race Cars, and I've kind of been around it since I was little, but this summer, I've actually officially been hired on and working.
So now you're working here in the shop
for the summer. Yeah,
I work that's here. Great for hands-on experience.
Perfect that's what I saw it as a good opportunity to give me some work ahead of college, but it's also work in what I'll be doing at college
Sure.
and in my future of
Yeah,
racing.
yeah. I would assume. I mean, I don't know your specific major there, but I mean, imagine a lot of the guys that go to school there have to have some kind of hands-on experience before they get there.
Yeah, so my major will be high performance motorsports, and so I'll be doing. Learning everything about these cars. Not
Sure.
only these cars, but sprint cars, drag cars,
Anything that
drift
makes
cars,
horsepower.
anything that has four wheels and turns. So that's
right. Anything that's slinging dirt,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and asphalt even. I mean, they have tons of asphalt stuff, but like you were saying, the family interlink with the Schwartz race cars and stuff is going to be helpful with me one day. And
Not only that but your future.
yeah, that's what the school I'm going to is actually sponsored by Longhorn. So it's a little bit of a headbutt, but
Yeah.
no, we Rumley and Arpin, they're all good guys, and
Yeah.
we talked with them and have some interlinkings with them on this stuff.
Good.
I mean, it's all one big community after all
Sure.
of it. So you gotta, if people aren't helping each other, the sport's just gonna end. And unfortunately, it's kind of dying down from what I'm seeing, losing
Yeah.
tracks and losing teams, and it's just the money part of it.
There's a lot going on with the sport, and a lot of it has to do with money, and a lot of it has to do with economy. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces across the board, and with things in the economy and in the racing world, everything's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, again, when you say everything's expensive, you don't just talk about racing stuff. I mean, it's
Everything. Yeah.
everything. Going to the grocery store, paying your bills,
Yeah.
everything's expensive. So we kind of hope that at some point, maybe some of that will balance back out a little bit, and
Yeah.
maybe the racing part won't take such a blunt of it.
I think the racing community, I'm gonna say this, and a lot of these guys that are racing now will not agree with it, but I think we need to go back to the old school way of racing. I think we need to have steel shocks, the square plastic noses,
Yeah.
none of this
Take some of
aerodynamic stuff.
the high tech out
Yeah,
of it.
let's go, only a certain amount of springs you can run on your shocks.
Right.
A very limited engine class. Let's bring the money.
Let's make it more simple.
Yes, and they're doing that with the crate stuff.
Sure.
And that is great. But you also have your super stuff that's just out of the water
Right.
still, and I don't see that happening. That's just something I would like to see.
Sure.
I would love to see it get back to the old school ways.
Yeah. Where people could build their own stuff.
Yeah.
But at least be able to afford it. I mean,
Yes.
we need more people in racing, or it's going to keep dwindling and dwindling.
I agree. Yes. And I think the Barry Braun, him and what the XR series and all them are doing is great, because Barry's actually bringing back Pennsboro.
Yeah.
And I know West Virginia Motor Speedway came back, but they didn't. When they brought it back, they expanded it back out to the original size.
Big track.
Yeah, and these guys today that have all these $50,000 motors, they're not going to want to run them that hard, because you got to run wide open at that place.
And it's going to be refreshed after just
Yeah,
running there.
yeah,
Whether it's one
so
time or
that's
your
what,
10th time.
and a refresh on these motors nowadays is $11,000.
Yeah, that's not cheap.
Or more, and so it's just the cost of living is overall killing everything.
Yeah.
I think, not just the racing.
I liked a few years ago when the sport mods, the B mods, I liked when those really kind of started taking off a little bit, because I really felt like, man, modifieds are everywhere. In certain places of the country, you can walk across the field and trip over one.
Yeah.
And if you can make that car easily available and economically friendly so that people can afford to build these things, now your average guy and his buddy or his brother, hey, let's build us a car and go racing.
Absolutely.
They can,
Yeah.
That's probably not happening with super late models anytime soon.
No, I don't think it will. But like you're saying, with the sport mods, they are getting.
And down there, I feel like they're getting out of hand also.
They are. They just around this area even, they are getting crazy. I mean, it's like Which that goes back to the innovative side of
Sure.
it. Everybody's trying to find that edge, and you're always going to have
They
that.
are.
People are always going to be trying to find something, and that's what, like, my grandpa Charlie. I mean, he's always, he built the wedge and always making innovative moves, and you're always going to have that in racing.
You're always going to
never going to stop,
and you're
doing
always going to have that people that can afford probably 2 classes up. But, and no offense to anybody, but there may be people that don't have the talent to run that class. So they got to come back down to their talent level.
Yes.
So some people are going to have the greatest, latest, best thing out there. And sometimes that's just hard to beat.
It is. I mean, that's what I see a lot of these modifieds that are like, man, you could have a halfway decent late model with the amount of money you're putting into these modifieds.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, no offense to anybody, but they can't. They don't have the talent to run with the supers.
They can afford a super team, but their talent level's not there.
Yes.
So I get it. There's probably teams out there, and I don't mean to be picking on the B mods or sport mods, but there's guys with probably brand new $40,000 rollers to run it in a B mod.
Yes.
It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. No,
I don't know that. I don't have any facts to back that up. I'm just
no,
saying.
I mean,
that's
that'd be hard to
scenarios.
prove, but I mean, it's definitely true that situation happens, and ain't really much you can do about it.
There's no rule against it.
Yeah,
I don't know an easy fix for that. I don't know that anybody does. So we just keep turning laps.
I think it. I don't know. I think it all goes back to knocking the price of living down overall. I mean, like you were saying, it's not just the racing world that's suffering right now.
Sure.
But we're getting too political here. We need to.
Dude, I'm telling you, I tell everybody when I start, I ask guys before we sit down, I was like, hey, is there anything you want to talk about or don't want to talk about? I said, for one, this ain't a political show. I don't talk politics because I don't study them and I don't know them and I can't keep up with them. And if I watch the news, I'm probably not going to get the truth anyway.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't
That's
talk
how
politics
it is anymore. Yep.
Yeah. I try to stick with a little bit about what I know, and I know a little bit about racing.
Yep.
Not a lot, a little.
Just a little bit. Yeah. No, going back to the college thing, and I'm hoping to maybe do an internship with the Lucas Oil Series next year and kind of open my eyes up to that side of it. Working on a traveling team. But really, man, I would absolutely love to be a traveling racer professionally.
Sure.
But I mean, we can always dream, right?
Heck yeah.
That also goes back to the money side of it. I mean, I have my car that I run, and the little bit of sponsors that I have, from PowerTech Race Engines to D. Niddle and Sons Auto, Tim Howell Trucking, Schwartz Race Cars, Greg's Tree Service. They all they help with what they can, but I mean, you always need more.
You always need more.
That's what, like, we took Audie's car up to Atomic with the World Outlaws, and he raced, and we were parked next to Tyler Bruning.
Yeah.
And parked next to us with this brand new rig, everything,
brand new rig. Yeah.
And we thought, man, we asked him, Tyler Bruning's dad, who owns Bruning stuff and
Skyline
Mike
Motorsports.
Mahler's stuff. Yep. And we asked him, we're like, man, what's the price on one of these rigs run you? And he's like, well, we bought 2 of them, so we got a good deal on them. And we're like, oh, you got a good deal on them?
You must got a great deal.
Yeah, we got a pretty good deal on them. We bought 2 of them at $8.49 a piece.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. That's just
that
to transport your car.
That is more money than I have been able to spend on my car in the past 4 years.
Sure.
I mean, and they spent that here. Here it is.
Yeah. 2 of them.
2 of them, yeah.
That's just a transporter to get the car, get the team, get the equipment.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with, not one tire, not one spark plug.
Not the tires, the fuel, the wear on the engine. No.
It's amazing.
The tire situation right now is another big thing in the racing community. I don't want to bash any certain companies or anything, but there is a monopoly game out there with it, and
agreed.
I think that's the best wording for it, is a monopoly.
Yeah, 100%. When you've got every single part on the race car, you can get from multiple distributors, multiple vendors, it can come from everywhere.
Yes.
But then when you have one part, and we just happen to talk about tires, I mean, it could be, if it was carburetors, it'd be carburetors.
Yep.
But it's like, if everybody has to run one thing, That's the definition of a monopoly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and
I'm not saying that they haven't done good for the sport, but
in
now
the
we're
past,
in the
yes.
past, yes. But
Yes.
now we're at a point where you're like, is that good
It's-
outweighing the bad?
Now, if you were running with the World Outlaws or the Lucas Oil Series, it don't bother you.
Sure.
But if you're a local guy like me or Audie, and you're just trying to, I'm running tires that I got from other drivers 4 years ago that are still sitting in my shop because that's what I can get.
Let me ask you this: do you think? I know you just said it. Do you think there is such thing now as local racing?
I never thought of it like that.
I feel like, and here's the reason I say that, I feel like there almost isn't local racing. I think it's now, if you're in a super late model, you're almost a regional guy.
I never thought of it like that.
So
I think you
we're
brought up a
really
good
close here
point.
to, we're really close to Portsmouth, right? And not that far from Atomic. Does either of those racetracks run super late models on a weekly basis?
No.
I feel like, and again, just my opinion, I feel like that weekly basis, if you're just going to that one track, you're just going to Portsmouth, or if you're just going to Atomic, or if you're just going to Moeller, and you're there every Friday or Saturday night, whichever the case may be, that's local. You're a local guy. You're there at that track every week. If they don't run that, now you've got to go outside of that box. Now I feel like you become a regional guy.
I agree, yeah, and that's another part of,
It's not cheap to travel.
it's not cheap to travel, no, and that's what I would love to stay at one track locally and just race there, but you can't do that anymore realistically.
Yeah.
And also starting out, my racing career, I felt as if the more I travel, the more experience I get, and overall, the better.
I'm not saying
better
the traveling
driver.
thing is a bad thing by any means.
No, not at all. But I agree with the local racing thing.
It's about gone.
It really is.
If it isn't, it's this close to being gone.
This is like not wanting to bash any track, nobody, but
times have changed.
The tracks that want to run the sprint cars every week instead of the late models now. Overall, in this area, there's way more late models than there is sprint cars.
Yeah.
You can't. This is a late model country.
This is late model country.
The fans are late model fans.
Yeah.
You can't bring in sprint cars on top of the late models and kick the late models out. Because you might have a big race every now and then, but I think overall you're going to end up hurting yourself.
Yeah.
And your local late model teams.
Sure.
Because you're not running them every week like you used to.
So you're either going to put them out of business or put them in a position where now they have to travel and become regional teams.
Yeah, and I think that some tracks stepped on some toes this year. I'm not going to say any names, but some tracks definitely stepped on some toes this year that made some people not really want to go race there. I hate to put it like that because you want to support every single track you can, but it's just I don't know if the people are starting. I think what it is the tracks are starting to try to find something different to make business off of.
They have to look at their business models and try to adjust it and try to make it make sense so they're not constantly losing money because they're in business to make money.
Yeah, I think that's. I want to say that's what they're trying to do.
We hope.
Yes, and I can't blame them. Like I can't blame them, but there's different ways to go about it than the ways that they did this year. And
I agree.
I
don't know if we're talking about the same incident.
We might not be, but I have a. How do I say this without? I don't. We did a race for Charlie a couple. We did it. Actually, the Charlie Schwartz Classic.
Okay.
We did it 3 years.
At the same track?
At the same track.
Okay, I was wondering because I'm not familiar with it, so I didn't know if it traveled with the different tracks.
The track for some reasons, but
okay.
We did that race 3 years in a row, and they brought in a series with it 1 year, and that helped them. It made it good, but it also hurt your local guys.
Yeah.
But we wanted that race to be a local guy race. The local guy be able to get some good money from a normal or a higher paying race.
Yeah.
and the tracks bring in a series, and it kind of hurts the local guys a little bit.
Sure.
Because you're bringing in all your series guys, you
Yeah.
know, your traveling guys, like you were saying, regional. I mean, that ain't the local racing anymore.
Right.
It's regional. But that kind of hurt, and then they ended up dropping the race this year and not running it. And they had their reasons, and that
Sure.
was completely okay. But I think this family looked at it a little differently, and
Yeah.
it didn't change our feelings on anybody. I mean, we
Right.
still like the people there, and
Yeah.
we want to support them, but we think that they could have done it a different way.
Yeah,
That's kind of what I was trying to get at earlier when I was saying stepping on some toes.
Yeah.
But like I said, it didn't change our feelings on anybody. It's just the local racing is getting squished almost.
It's taking a hit.
And the regional racing is picking up, and if you can't compete with those regional guys, then you're just kind of out of luck. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, it seems to be how it's going.
Yeah.
But we'd love for the local racing to get back. Like I was saying earlier, I'd love to go back to the old school ways of the old cars, and even the look of the old cars, man. I love those.
What is your favorite when you say old school cars? What's your favorite old school
I
cars? Are you
think-
talking the wedge cars? Are you talking the stock looking Camaros and Corvettes?
Think the era after the wedge cars.
Oh, okay. So when the bodies were more square.
Yes.
More simple.
I like the square, the simple,
Yeah.
and like the plastic noses, just
Yeah.
none of the stuff you can make at your house.
Yep.
I mean, you know, stuff you can have a metal brake or one little metal brake and a pair of tin snips.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
all you need. I mean, that's how I'd like for it to be, but realistically, I don't think we're going to get back to
Probably
that.
not.
But no,
But those were some cool noses. The noses that were
Yes.
just came down
Yes.
and maybe just dished a little. I mean, guys did some pretty cool stuff with those.
Yeah, I liked that era. That was my favorite.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this era is pretty cool, you know, getting it up on the left rear. And we're starting to get, I don't know if anybody else has ever noticed this, but I'm starting to notice more and more. We're starting to get the left front picking back up again.
Yeah.
We're starting to get back to that style of racing. And
Cars
I
are
love that.
flexing a lot.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's that's the one thing I like about this area is the actual movement of the cars.
Yeah.
I think it looks really cool. And
Yeah.
It is.
I think the tracks we have in this area are some of that too. You know, we don't
Yes.
have. I think the track you have will kind of depend on some of that car movement as
Yeah,
well.
so like at Atomic, you won't have as much. You're in the banking so much that
Right.
you're not going to be leaning.
Right.
A flatter track like
It's going to be rolled way over.
yeah, a flatter track like Willard Speedway out in Willard,
Yeah.
Kentucky. It is a flatter quarter-mile
Yes.
slick track, so
Okay.
you're leaned over a little more, and you know your car's flexing a little bit. But I think the way these cars move anymore is so cool looking, and it's intriguing to new fans.
Sure.
The more bizarre you can make them look, the more fans you're gonna pick up.
And that's another thing. Something we don't talk about a lot is the fans and getting the fans back. You know, we got to keep the seats in the seats.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah.
keep their attention and
So-
things. You know, and just like this, like you know, people that didn't know who Lucas was, well, maybe they might see us like, oh yeah, I knew. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that kid run, but I didn't know who he
Yeah.
was. So
Yeah, that's another thing, getting the fans back. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just that hurts the tracks even
Yeah.
more, and that's what
we need ticket sales.
ticket sales. And there is all the streaming stuff is
There's a lot.
It is good for a certain reasons, but it is also bad for certain reasons.
Yeah,
as
it's-
in you're taking fans out of the stands,
Right.
and that's one less hot dog they're selling, one less drink, one less
Sure.
ticket. It's not just the ticket sales.
Yeah.
It's the concession stand food, the ticket sales, the T-shirts they're buying, all
Yeah.
that stuff. But the streaming services is a good deal. Should they stream it live? I don't think so. I think they need to delay it a day or two That way, if you have a fan that's on the fence about going to the races,
Right.
and they're like, last minute getting off work on it, if it's a Friday show, last minute getting off work, and they're like, I want to go to the races, but man, I just got off work. Well, now they can go home and just sit and watch it. And that's good for the fans.
It's good for the fans.
But the track and racing wise, that is what hurts.
Here's where I'm at with it. I don't know the particulars. I don't know the specifics of it. I feel like as long as the streaming companies is paying the track enough to offset that difference for the fans that don't come or the fans that do sit home, as long as whoever's streaming it, as long as they're making up that difference, so now that's not hurting the racetrack.
Yeah,
if that is the case, and again, hey, like I said, I don't know the particulars.
I know that they get paid a certain amount of money, depending on the size of the race.
It depends on the size of the race. I know sometimes it depends on the track, because it depends on, is this going to be drawn to people? Is people going to be drawn to this event? Are people going to be watching this? You know, like if you're, just for an example, I would say like Florence Speedway, they hold Crown Jewel events.
Yes.
So that's a name that's going to draw people to watch races. So they probably get paid more than, let's say, a race at Moeller Raceway Park. Moeller doesn't have Crown Jewels. It's smaller venues, smaller races.
Yeah.
They probably don't get paid what Florence would. And there's just a couple of examples.
And that's what I know. A track owner that I've talked to before in the past, and a good family friend of ours, and he said that they brought the flow in. He was very against it because of the fact he didn't want to lose his fans.
Right.
And he finally gave in and brought them in, and they paid him. And he said after the first weekend of doing it, or the first couple weekends, he figured up what they paid him, and then figured up how much he had lost compared to the weekends prior. And he said he had lost more money than they gave him, really.
Okay.
And that's what.
And that's what we just got to be careful of.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna do it, make sure you're getting the right amount of payment.
Right.
But or don't do it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's a very tough situation, I think,
It's
overall.
It's a fine line.
It is. And I think the entire I mean, the way that the actual racing is right now is very, very fine line-ish, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, you're either over here or you're over here, and you're not in, you're a local guy here or a regional guy over here. It's just very.
I like to, and I say this a lot, and probably more than I should. I add ish to a lot of stuff. So that's a
yes.
great. You could be a little ish.
Yes.
5:30 ish. I might be there 5:35.
That's how I am. Yeah, on time. Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, I might be there 5:30 ish.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think I mean, I don't want to get back into it because we've already been there, but the era that the late model racing is in right now is good, the racing wise. The money wise and all that, again, something's got to change.
We just can hope things get better.
I mean,
some capacity.
You can hope, yeah, and that's what this car. I don't want to say names, but that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Being able to run that and not stuck in that monopoly like we were saying earlier. But it's just little things like that helps the local race.
Is this car running tonight?
This car will not be running tonight.
Okay, so your car is.
My car, I live in my shop in Grayson, Kentucky, which is actually at Charlie's house.
Okay.
That's where we have our car.
And how long does it take you to get from there to Mud Lake?
45 to 50 minutes.
Okay.
I have where I'm at, I have 3 or 4 tracks that are about 45, 50 minutes. So
it's
I'm
good
in
to
a
have
good
options.
Area. Yeah.
Especially when you're a regional guy now.
Yes. Yeah. So this car is the car that we took to the PRI show last year.
Okay.
And then it's an identical copy to the car that Audi races.
Okay.
I mean, it is, from the way it is built to the wrap to the body, everything is identical to how this car would race. And my car is pretty much the same. I mean, it looks different, but it is the exact same. So this was a 2024 Schwartz Extreme race cars. And we just, ain't that right, Ed? It's 2024? Yes. Okay. And we just started building our 2025s.
Okay.
So we're starting to roll them out now.
Very good.
But yeah, this car is identical to what you would get if you ordered a brand new car. This is the type of car you get. So we wanted to take it to PRI, and it was great. I think we had multiple PRI workers come by, or I did, and talk. And they said that we had the biggest crowd around.
Good.
This. We were in the DRP booth on the pull down rig.
Okay.
Doing that, and Dalton Wilson, Brandon Overton, Devin Moran, Ricky Thornton Jr. I saw Davenport there one time. I mean, it was just they're checking it out. They were very interested. So it was a good business. I wouldn't say business move, but it was good for the business.
Yeah,
and we sold
it's
some
something
cars
that's good, and
of
something you guys kind of need to be a part of, and to get your guys' name out there and keep up with the latest greatest stuff.
That's what we're hoping to go back this year and do it again.
Do it again.
So, yeah, it was good. We were
good.
very fortunate to have that opportunity, and hopefully we can capitalize on it again this year.
And keep it going.
Yes.
Okay. Well, speaking of keeping it going, I know we need to wrap up.
Yep.
You got a race to go get to tonight.
Yeah, I gotta get going here in a little bit. But, if you guys want to learn a little more about me or my racing career, I'm gonna throw this in there.
Throw it in there. This is your chance.
I have a Facebook page, Lucas Crooks Racing. You can go look it up and give us a follow and keep the updates. I lack a little bit on trying to keep it updated. That's why I didn't post until this morning that we were racing. But we're hopefully going to be doing some maybe every other weekend racing next year with me being in college.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of up in the air right now, but we definitely will race some.
Yeah.
Just depends on how
Schedules.
that goes. Yeah.
Schedules.
So, yeah,
all right.
we're going to try to go run somewhere tonight.
Well, give me your plugs. Let's mention your sponsors, and then we'll wrap up.
Greg's Tree Service, PowerTech Racing Engines, Schwartz Race Cars, Tim Haddle Trucking, and Dean Niddle & Sons Auto. And then I gotta give a big thanks to my grandpa Charlie and my dad. If it wasn't for those two, we would, and Audie. I mean, Schwartz Race Cars, but if it wasn't for those guys, I would not be in this. I wouldn't even be here.
I
wouldn't have the opportunity that I had to be where I am, and hopefully to continue to grow. But yeah, that's what my mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa on both sides.
The family.
The entire family.
Yeah.
It is a family-oriented thing, and if it wasn't for all of them, we wouldn't be able to do it. So I got to thank all of them.
Awesome. Well, Lucas, thanks again, man. I know your schedule's tight. Yeah, everybody's is, but definitely appreciate you cutting me a little time here.
I appreciate
telling us a little bit about it on your side.
Talk a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish you luck, not only tonight, but in all your future stuff, going to college and all this stuff, man. You got a lot coming up, and wish you nothing but the best.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Right. So that's that. Another great episode, Slingin Dirt Media. Thanks again for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget, we'll see you at the track next week. Thanks.